now let's take a look at another example. But before we do it, I'm going to very briefly talk about just go over how to import either a module or some functions from a module. So the first way or the safest way is to import the module itself. So you're importing, you using the identifier for that module, and then whenever you need anything from that module, you need to say, all right, from this module, I'm looking for this function. So module name period, the name of the function. Or you can say from a module import something. And then that something could be a list of identifiers that you have, like for some function A, B, and C, or it could be a single rename identifier. So you are importing one function and you're changing its name to something else, or you can use asterisks, which tells simply to import all of the identifiers into your program. If you use this method, you need to use the name of the module to use any of the functions, to access any of the functions. If you use from, then you just simply use the name of your function from that module, because now you're importing different functions directly into your program. All right, now let's get to the example. We want to write two functions, and both of them are called double. One is going to be inside module 1, the other one is going to be inside module 2. All right, so you can define them. The definition is going to be very similar, so I'm going to just go with that for now. So now what I want this double in module 1 to do is I wanted to double the number that I'm passing to it. So if I pass a list to it, I want each of the values in that list to be doubled. So again, this function double will return a new list with each item doubled. If you pass, for instance, list 1, 2, and 3, the return list is going to be 2, 4, and 6. Right? On the other hand, this double is going to duplicate each of the items that you have. All right, again, the second the double in module 2, however, is going to duplicate the item. So if you pass 1, 2, 3, each item is going to be duplicated. 1 becomes 1, 1 as a tuple, 2 becomes 2, 2, 3 becomes 3, 3 as a tuple. All right, I'm going to start with my double function in module 1. So simply, again, if you are past the list, you want to double each of the items. So since you want to double each of the items, when we are saying each of the item, that means that you need to access each of those items first, and then you can easily double those numbers. Okay, to access the items, I'm going to use a for loop. I'm going to say for I in my list, then I'm going to simply double the items. So you can either create a new list and store all of your values into your new list, or update your current list. It is simpler to create a new list in this example, so I'm going to say new list equal to empty. So it starts empty, and then I'm going to traverse over the items that I have in my list that is passed to this function, and I'm going to take each of the items, which is going to be assigned to variable I, and then just multiply by 2 and then append it to this new list. So I'm going to say new list dot append, and then inside parentheses I'm saying I multiply by 2. Okay, so each item that comes, I'm going to take it, multiply by 2, append it to my new list. And then I'm going to return this new list. Remember, you shouldn't put return inside the for loop, because if you do that, your function is going to be terminated as soon as you get to return. So you are going to stop in the first iteration. So make sure it is outside of your for loop, outside of your loop. So you go through all of the items, duplicate them, and then after you're done, you're returning the new list back to wherever it is called. Okay, so all good. Let's test it. Let's test it to make sure it works. So if I want to use that function, if I simply say double and then pass a list to it, such as 1, 2, and 3 that we had in the example, it's going to give me an error message because function double does not exist in this file, in this module. Okay, so to get access to that function, I need to import my module. So I'm going to say import module 1. All right, so import module 1. Now I'm importing the entire module. If I want to access any function, I need to say, where do you want to get that function? So I'm saying from module 1, take double function. Now if I run it, I should I should access the module. However, this function returns a value. I'm not printing it. That is why I'm not seeing any output. So now I'm printing it, and that displays the result. So if you want, you can also store it into a variable, and so 1, 2, and 3, and then simply pass that variable to your function. So A is a list, and you're passing your list to your function. And you can simply show the original list as well. So you have A, which is 1, 2, 3, and then if you double it, you get 2, 4, and 6. All right, now for the second double, just pause this video, try to do it yourself. See if you can take a list and duplicate each of its item, so you have something similar to this one. If you pass a list such as 1, 2, and 3, you duplicate each of the items and store them as a tuple into your list. Just pause the video and see if you can do it yourself. All right, hopefully you were able to do it. I'm going to just try to create that function. And to start, I'm going to copy this entire program and put it here. All right, so it's going to be a very small change to make this function double work. Instead of multiplying the item by 2, I'm going to append a tuple to it, and that tuple is the same item twice. Okay, so if I have item I, I'm going to create a tuple, and I have 2 of that item and append it to my new list. All right, so if I do that, it should work, but make sure you import your module so you can get that function from the module 2. So for module 2, I'm going to call function double. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Again, I forgot to save my module 2. That is why I got none. All right, so here you go. So for double from module 1, I am doubling each of the items, and then from module 2, I'm duplicating each item. All right, so in this example, as you saw, we used the first method to import the modules. Right, so now I'm going to try to use the second method, which is the using keyword from, and then from a specific module you are going to import something. All right, so let's try that. So I'm going to say from module 1 import double. All right, so if I do that, it's going to work, but you remember, then you do not need to use the module name. If you do, you're going to get error message because module 1 is not identified here because you're not importing module 1 anymore. You're importing a piece of module 1, which is called double. All right, so you need to take it out for it to work. So if I do that, again, I do not need the name module 2 before it, but here we have the problem with name clash. We have the exact same name, and we are importing that function which has the same name in 2 different modules into one program. Okay, so if we do that, we simply overriding the function double from module 1 with function double from module 2. So we are going to get the exact same output, right? So you're always going to go to module 2 for it because function double was overwritten by the function double from module 2. To resolve that issue, you can simply change the name of that function as soon as you import it here. So I can say from module 2 import double as duplicate. Okay, so I'm calling it duplicate as soon as it gets here. So since I'm calling it duplicate, I should use the word duplicate. So now from this point onward, function double in module 2 is going to be called duplicate only in this function, only in this program. So if I run it now, the first one is going to be double, original double from module 1, and then the second double function from module 2 is going to be called duplicate. Okay, so it's very handy. Sometimes you do not want to like use the long form of like module 1 period, the name of the function, just want to go with the short names or the name of the function. You can do that, but you need to be careful with name clashes. If you have cases such as this one, you can simply change the name of your functions when you are importing them.